All right, y'all, we got something very special to celebrate today. We have hit 200 subscribers. Woo! And we're celebrating today with yet another libation, another drink. This is my third favorite cocktail of all time. I discovered it in Mexico City while I was filming a TV show there one time. What's the name of the drink?
Carajillo.
It's called a carajillo.
You can find the rest of
Cheers. And a carajillo consists of two ingredients, coffee and liqueur 43. Alrighty, so making a carajillo is fairly straightforward. You just make an espresso and then pour liqueur 43 on it. And some ice and then shake it up, and then that's it. So if you have an espresso maker, then it's really easy for you. In my case, I do not, so I had to use the stovetop one here. Alrighty, that sputtering there means it's done. It's time to turn it off. Kaboom! Cheers, everybody. 200 subscribers. Mike West is the guy that brought it over the line. Mike, I'm glad to have you aboard. Welcome to the family, the journeymen and journeywomen family. My journey through the pantheon. I'm going to shut up and take a drink now. Ladies and gentlemen, a carajillo. It's it's an espresso cocktail, so your body doesn't quite know what to do. It's like, are we like going to be energized and spunky because of the caffeine, or are we going to be like kind of like because of the alcohol? But it's so delicious. Oh my God, let me take one more sip. Yeah, so thank you, Mike West. I'm thrilled to have you aboard, brother. And I hope you love the content that I have here. I just wanted to take a pause and celebrate. This is my third favorite cocktail. On the next 100, I'll do my second favorite cocktail, and then we'll jump up to my first favorite. Then I'll start going through all my different favorite like liquors and beers and stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so it's amazing, guys, because it took me, 10 months to get to 100 subscribers. And then in the past like month and a half or 2 months, I forget when I posted this video, but in the past, in that amount of time, I've doubled that, right? So the exponential growth curve is starting to form. And this is like the very base of that curve. Take another sip here for y'all. Y'all are awesome. So I really do appreciate every single one of you, and I love every single one of you. Your comments mean the world to me, even the ones that are kind of critical. It makes me kind of reflect on myself and my journey and stuff, and I try to learn from everything, right? But specifically, every day, every second is another little step, another little unfurling, if you will, of my journey. Unfurling of the cosmic fern, rather, So I don't know. It's just awesome to communicate with you guys and gals, and it really does mean the world to me. And I wanted to do another little extra special thing here. There was someone who commented recently, I forget who it was, but they wanted to kind of get advice on, in fact, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to figure out who it was. All right, here we go. I found it. His name is Just Nivs. And he says, planning my first trip soon and wanted to see other people's experiences, blah, 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 blah. What's some good things to know/do before you do it for the first time? Okay, that is a very, very good question. And so what I would say right off the bat is do your research. Don't go in this just willy-nilly. Do all your research. But the funny thing is take all that research that you did and crumple it up and then throw it in the trash can, because your experience is going to be specifically tailored for you. Whether it's your subconscious behind the wheel of these experiences, or in my case, I believe it's God. Regardless of that, either of those entities both know exactly what you need and what's lacking in your life, and it's going to provide it. And it will, sometimes it will provide it in absolutely brutal fashion. And if you're super lucky, it'll provide it in only beauty, right? But to me, the whole yin and yang, you need darkness to understand and appreciate and do good, right? So yada yada. I'm talking myself in circles here, but that's what I would say is definitely do your research, but then kind of go in not expecting stuff. Like, take all your expectations and just flush them out of your mind. You're going to have your own unique experience. There's common threads that you'll find from people's accounts, like that you die during your experience, quote unquote, you die in the experience, and then you go to either heaven or hell kind of thing, and you encounter these beings. I mean, you may not experience any of that. Or you may experience all of that, or just parts of it. I know people that have gone as deep as I have, and they haven't seen any beings or anything. Now, they still get these amazing experiences out of it. But again, if you don't see something that you want and that you've been looking for, don't get disappointed and don't get discouraged, because this is a journey. You have to, and that's the other big point here, is you got to be in it for the right reasons. If you're doing it just to get all messed up and have fun, like I know someone that's like, hey man, it's like going on vacation. It's like, I mean, we're talking different languages here, man. If you're in it for that kind of thing, and then the other thing is, if you are in it for the right reasons. So when I say be in it for the right reasons, what I mean is, if there's something broken in you that you need fixed, this is the reason you do this stuff. Okay. Whatever's broken in you that needs fixing is going to be unfurled in such a beautiful and amazing, sometimes terrifying way that it changes your life. And then that's another piece of advice that I would say is that be ready for the change. I mean, in my case, I quit a 15-year career, highly successful career. I built up a nest egg of savings, but I'm telling you what, I'm dipping into that savings right now. In 3 months, I went from just rolling around in money to now I'm doing these little mental calculations in my head of like, oh, if I knock this grocery run out in like one trip instead of like 2 trips, because there's this other place that I need to go to as well, I can save gas by going here, and if I pay with cash, then it's like this. I'm rambling here, but all I got to tell you is be ready for the change, because it will change you, and it's still the same you, mind you. That's what a lot of people don't realize, is you're not fundamentally changed in the sense that it's a different you. It's still the same you, but your perspective on everything is different, and that changes you to your core, but it's still you. I know that's kind of a riddle there. But again, I would say go in for the right reasons. And even if you're trying to fix something that's broken in you, focus on what is at the root core of that, right? I mean, I'll give you a for instance. Like, let's say that, I'm just making a story up here. Let's say that you are traumatized because you were bullied substantially as a little kid, right? Now, you could go in on psychedelics and try to, and by the way, this is actually kind of a little bit kind of like a story of someone that I know. Okay, so this is not too much of a made-up kind of scenario. But you could go into a psychedelic situation. By the way, let me fix this camera here. It's leaning down a little too much. Oh, gosh. Stick with me, y'all. I was doing good. But, okay. So you could go into a psychedelic trip, right? And let's take this bully scenario. You could go in there with the intentions of trying to telepathically communicate with your former bully that you knew in junior high or high school or wherever it was, so that you can like torment them and let them know how it feels to be bullied, right? And I know someone who has gone in on psychedelics with a similar kind of motive, and they get really not much out of it, because it's, you got to go deeper. Okay, go to the root core of whatever your problem is, and write down a list of what you want to take out of your experiences. Let me take another sip, by the way. This stuff is yummy. Write down some goals. Write down a list of, here's what I want to get out of my whole journey. Because, A lot of people say that you're cured in one deep trip. To me, it took like 5, and I kept going because I wanted more answers. But write down your list of goals that you want to have accomplished at the end of your journey, right? And then go into those experiences seeking the root core of your problem, not this surface level BS, okay? The surface level stuff will be addressed through the deep healing of yourself, period, okay? So that's definitely one thing I would recommend, is definitely go in for the right reasons. And then another thing I would recommend is listen to sorry about that, the camera cut out there, the SD card was full, amateur hour over here. But anyway, so to continue what I was saying, I would say, follow the advice of your guides. And I mean that, when I say guides, I mean like both on this planet and off this planet. So for the ones that are on this planet, hopefully you're doing this legally. I highly recommend that you do. And if you are doing it legally, you're going to have shamans and guides and stuff like that that are going to help you not only dial in your dosage of what you need to take, but also your experience and help you go deeper and explore and give you and help you integrate, right? And so definitely listen to them. They're professionals. Don't follow my advice. I did this kind of willy-nilly, and I wouldn't do it the way I did it. I had a great experience, but I probably would have had a much better experience if I did what everyone else told me to do, right? So, and then the other thing is the other guides, like the guides off of this planet. Whenever you encounter, because you may encounter one of these supernatural like beings or whatever. When you encounter one of these critters, right? I'm a Texas boy. I love that word. When you encounter one of these critters, listen to what they have to say. Don't brush it off. Now, the only time that you should doubt what they have to say is if they're telling you something dangerous. Like if it's something like, hey, you should kill yourself. Like, that is a tool of the enemy. And a common theme on that, by the way, if you encounter this, is they're going to say, you're not... A lot of people, they get into ayahuasca and stuff like that because they're depressed, right? And you're constantly, every day that you have depression, you're constantly beating yourself down like, I'm not worthy, I suck, like I'm a loser, etc., etc. You may encounter beings that, I've encountered one, you may encounter beings that tell you that, and you're so caught up in the emotions and everything is so intense that you may do something like kill yourself, right? And that's where a lot of people die, and not a lot of people, very, very tiny, minuscule amount of people, if they do this stuff by themselves and they don't have the proper, sitter, like people watching over them. Sometimes people will do bad stuff and kill themselves or kill other people. Bottom line is, if you see an entity or a being that says you suck, you're not worthy, you deserve to die, you're a piece of shit, don't listen to them. Don't believe them. Tell them to get the hell out of there. If you're a believer in Jesus, as I am now, throw the word Jesus Christ at them. They're gone. They disappear. Yeah, so, but if you do encounter a being that is pleasant and is telling you, good things, heed their advice. And even if it's tough things, like even if it's stuff that that is tough love kind of thing, like something that you may not want to hear at the time, so long as it's not like trying to tell you to kill yourself, listen to it. And then another thing I would say is talk to it. Open up a dialogue and try to see what it, ask it questions about anything, like the universe. I don't know, anything you want to ask it. Life and death, damnation, salvation, etc. Like God, angels, whatever, aliens. Feel free to just go to town. So yeah, that would be my other piece of advice. And then I guess to close things out here, like another last little piece of advice here would be, is that even focusing on me? Yeah, okay. Okay. another little piece of advice here would be integrate what happens to you. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to forget the magic. And I struggle with this almost on a daily basis of I have to go back and pinch myself and be like, oh my God, that really happened. I really did talk to God. I really did get dropped into hell and rescued and all this stuff. And these are amazing. It's nothing short of a miracle, right? And it is very easy to have an amazing experience like this and then just get sucked right back into your humdrum life, or think to yourself, oh, that was all in my head, and I took a psychedelic, so what did I expect? Of course something magical is going to happen, and then you just forget everything that happened and you move on with your life. It's like, no. You have to integrate your experience. And I'm talking, when I say integrate, I'm talking, for me, I recorded my trips on my phone on the voice notes. That's how a lot of people were wondering, like, how I remember all this stuff. It's because, number one, I'm basically 100% coherent and lucid throughout the whole experience. I can talk better than what I'm talking right now. And I record it all on my phone, and that's how I remember. And then I go back and I do these episodes on it, and it brings out so much more meaning. There's stuff that you're going to miss in the moment. And so if you don't want to record on your phone the trip, maybe you can't. Maybe you go legit to the Amazon and no technology allowed. I would start taking notes the second I'm done. Maybe not the second. You're gonna need to recover, but as soon as you are able to, you need to start writing stuff down. You need to start taking little voice notes of like, I remember this, I remember that. This is what that meant to me. And you are going to find so much more meaning, because it's very easy to forget all this stuff on a trip. You will find more meaning afterwards than you actually do. Well, no, it's hard. No, I can't say that. I was about to say you'll find more meaning afterwards in the integration than you do on the trip. There's so much meaning crammed into the trip. It takes the rest of your life to unpack it all. And so I would say don't leave that part out. It's very important. Unpack everything and keep digging. And the other thing I would tell you, though, is when you start this journey, again, be prepared for your life to change and be ready for that change. And it could be like quit a career, or if you're in an abusive relationship, like get a divorce. There's going to be some major changes that are called from you, or like, hey, man, I've had problems with my father, and now it's time to confront my father in a loving manner, mind you. Like, this stuff is never about hate, but there's if there's some divides in your family, like there's some issues, like we don't go here kind of thing. You're going to go there. Like, it's going to be like, I have to do this, and so be ready for those changes. But the other thing is, be careful, because psychedelics are not addictive. They aren't, and they are. And what I'm trying to warn you here is that the drugs themselves aren't addictive. But you can get addicted to the experience. And regardless if it's a bad trip or a good trip, getting into a fist fight, is not a pleasant thing. It's really afterwards, after you've been in the fight, and if you've won or something like that you're like, wow, that was kind of cool. That's kind of what happens with a bad trip. Like, you can go you can have a very incredibly hellish experience and come out of that, and like weeks later, months later, look back and be like, man, that was actually pretty amazing that I survived that, and I have an amazing story to tell, and so on and so forth. And then the good stuff is so amazing and so beautiful that you would want to experience that stuff every moment of your life, every second. Although you do encounter some extremes where there's so much love and joy that it can kill you. Like, I've experienced that almost on every trip. Thinking that you're going to die because something is so beautiful and there's so much love and joy. It's overwhelming. The humans can't take this amount. You're in the spirit realm dealing with these emotions whose origin is from the spirit realm. So they're like diluted, or not diluted, they're distilled rather, that's what I meant. They're hyper concentrated emotions and feelings, and when you experience them, it friggin' hurts. Your brain wants to explode, your heart wants to explode. But regardless, these experiences are so amazing and so majestic and so, of course, novel, and I keep using the word amazing, but you want to keep doing it. And so the drugs aren't addictive, but the experiences are. And next thing you know, you look down, you're doing psychedelics like every week. So I knew someone who did it every day. And I would say that, I mean, you can't really overdose per se on this stuff, but it's dangerous. It really is dangerous. You cannot derive all of your wisdom from psychedelics. It's dangerous, okay? I forget the Carl Jung quote. It's like, be leery of unearned wisdom. And that's another thing I would say, is that whenever you get this download of wisdom and amazing things, there's a concept called the dark night of the soul. And I have been going through that for about a year now, ever since about a year and a half. When I had my first sit-down conversation with God, the 2.5 hour long conversation that's on the episode called The Answer, trip number 5, The Answer. Ever since that day, I had this unbelievable download from the divine, but trying to integrate the infinite into your finite life is incredibly difficult. And it is, even though it's been an amazing and beautiful and awesome journey, and I would do it over again 1,000 billion times, a trillion, a quadrillion times, just know that you could likely slip into what's called the dark night of the soul. And I would look that up and research it, because it happened to me. It happened to several people that I know, and it's a real thing. So again, be ready for the change. I've been talking a lot now. Another one of my long-winded episodes. I'm going to finish this drink here. But I hope I helped you out to some degree. Bottom line, just to sum up the bullet points, I would say do your research, but then throw that research right out the window. Then I would say, listen to your guides both on this planet and off this planet. If you are one of these lucky few who get to talk to one of these otherworldly beings, listen to them. Don't listen to them if they're telling you to kill yourself or kill someone else or something crazy like that, or that you suck and you're not worthy and you're a piece of shit and like all that. Don't listen to them then. But if they're giving you like unbelievable advice, even if it's tough love advice, like, hey, you need to get your stuff together. You need to get your stuff together is not a negative thing. So don't disregard a message like that. But listen to your beings. Listen to those entities, and then talk to them. Open up a conversation. Integrate your experience, every bit of it, and then keep the magic alive. Don't let the magic die. And then just watch out. Be ready for the change, because it will happen. And then watch out. Do not let yourself get addicted to the experience. Don't get to the point where you're doing this stuff every day. It's dangerous, and it's also expensive. And yeah, that's it. All right, I just remembered one last thing. I'll make it quick, I promise. Don't do psychedelics by yourself. And when I say that, I don't mean like you and someone else both take psychedelics. What I'm saying is have someone that is completely sober, that is honestly bigger and stronger than you, that is going to look after you while you go on this trip. Specifically, I would seek out someone who's very pleasant. Like, make them big and make them to where they can overpower you, but also make sure that they don't give off like bad juju, like bad energy. Make sure they're a pleasant person that can contain you if you go absolutely crazy, because there is a chance that you will. There are terrible stories of people that wake up, they go have a hellish experience and bad things happen. Okay, just be careful. So that's it. I love you all. I've been talking for a while now. Cheers to 200 listeners, to 200 subscribers. I got to do this 5 more times before I can monetize my channel, and then likely, I don't even know what monetizing my channel would look like. No one wants to give money to... Anyways, I'm done. Love you all. Cheers.